welcome to a new episode of Thursday Reviews. Today we have the Olight M2R Warrior to review. Now there is going to be strobing lights and things like that throughout this video, so if you have any sort of condition for epileptic seizures or anything like that, just be careful. I will review this and I will test it out in our garage tonight, and that's where you're really going to start seeing the strobing happen. So just be warned of that now. If you have epileptic seizures or anything like that, or are sensitive to strobing lights, you might not want to watch this video. But anything else that I have to say, I'll say it later on, so let's go look at the light. This is it, the Warrior. This thing is amazing. It's rated at 1500 lumens. It has two switches, one on the side and one in the back. They are electronic switches instead of forward or reverse. The tail cap unscrews and the battery goes in right here. It takes 18650s. Notice how I put this battery in. The positive side sticks out the back. That just has to do with its built-in charging system. Note that the battery does come with the light. Speaking of that charging system, this is the cable that charges it. Notice how it's the M2R? That R means it's rechargeable. You plug the USB into any USB port and the other end magnetically attaches to the rear switch. It lights up red while it's charging and green when it's done. Let's now look at the LED. It uses an XHP35 HD. It also has an orange peel reflector that is quite pronounced. It has a throw of 208 meters, or 682.4 feet, or 227.47 yards. While we're looking at this, you can see the strike bezel. That could be painful if you hit someone with that. This light also has a max candela of 10,880 and a max runtime of 25 days. It's IPX8 waterproof, which is standard for these types of lights. The length of this light is 5.1 inches or 130 millimeters. The diameter is 1 inch or 25.4 millimeters. Not really all that big. It has a two-way pocket clip, so you could also clip it to a hat if you wanted to. The knurling is pretty unique. It's pretty grippy, so I can't complain. Here is how the user interface works. If you're familiar with their Baton series lights, it's pretty much the same. You can push the side switch to turn it on, push it again to turn it off. Very simple. To change brightness, you turn it on and hold the side switch down. Let go when you see the one you want. It has a moonlight mode if you turn it off and hold the switch from off. You can also access turbo from anywhere by double-clicking the side switch. Triple-clicking gives you the strobe. There is no SOS or beacon. It also has a memory, so it remembers the last brightness level except for turbo. So what does the tail switch do? You can half press and hold and it gives you momentary to the turbo. Fully depressing the switch gives you a steady on with instant access to turbo. Now this light has two themes, an outdoor theme and a tactical theme. To change between the two, you fully depress and hold the tail switch and press the side switch. It strobes and is now in the tactical theme. Half pressing gives you momentary to turbo like before, but fully depressing gives you a strobe, also momentary. It's kind of weird that they're both momentary, but it's really convenient with instant access to turbo and strobe. Changing themes has no effect on memory or how the side switch operates. This light has an electronic lockout system. Turn the light off and hold the switch. Keep holding until it turns completely off. It is now locked out. To unlock it again, Just do the same thing until it turns on to moonlight. You could also mechanically lock it out by unscrewing the tail cap. This breaks the electrical connection to the light. Locking it out will prevent it from accidentally activating in a pocket. Here are the brightness levels and run times. Moonlight is 1 lumen and runs for 25 days. Low is 15 lumens for 70 hours. The first medium setting is 60 lumens for 20 hours. The higher medium setting is 250 lumens for 6 hours, 15 minutes. The high mode is 700 lumens for 2 hours. And finally, the turbo mode, which is 1500 lumens for 3 minutes before stepping down to high at 700 lumens for an additional 120 minutes. The only reason it does this is because the light begins to get warm, so it drops down to protect the light and the battery. It also helps to not drain the battery so fast. Strobe is at the full 1500 lumens. I say it's time to test it out in our garage once it gets dark. This is our garage with its lights on. It's the size of a 2-car, but it only has space for 1 car. The other half is for storage. Here we go. Moonlight. 1 lumen for 25 days. Low. 15 lumens for 70 hours. Medium, 60 lumens for 20 hours. Higher medium, 250 lumens for 6 hours, 15 minutes. High, 700 lumens for 2 hours. Turbo, 1500 lumens for 3 minutes, then high for 120 minutes. Strobe, 1500 lumens. So let's find out what I like about the light. Well, first and foremost, 1500 lumens on one 18650 battery. Let that sink in. That is amazing. For just a basic 18650 battery from Olight, 1500 lumens being punched out of this thing. I also like that the tail switch has instant access to the turbo or the strobe. So it kind of depends on what kind of a person you are and what you're going to be using this light for. You have immediate access to that. Let's say you're going into the rough part of town at the wrong time of the day, and you're out and somebody's trying to mug you or whatever. You have a light that you can shine at their face. That bright turbo would be enough to disorient them, and then you give them that little burst of the strobe, and they're not going to mess with you for a second while they regain their balance and their thoughts and their reasonings as to why they're out at this time of the night. Another thing is this light is about an average size, considering it takes an 18650. It's about the average, what you think an 18650 light would take. And in fact, it's even slightly small. I've seen lights much bigger than this that just run on a single 18650. Another thing is the beam of this light has a pretty good mix of flood and spot. Now it is rather spotty, and so that's what gets you that distance. That's what makes the light throw so far, but it does have a nice flood to it as well. Another thing I like is that there are 6 brightness levels that you can tap into. 6. I mean, that's enough for every situation you could ever imagine. Any sort of thing that you need to light up, if it's too bright, you're able to darken it. If it's too dark, you're able to brighten it. It's pretty simple. And also, I do like that you have 2 theme options to put it on, that outdoor theme or the tactical theme. Again, for use in all situations, whether you are going to be using it for security at night, or maybe, if you're going to be in the bad part of town, or, whatever situation you may be in, it has the theme for that. So you're going to notice that I like a lot of things about this light. We're continuing that trend of saying what I like about it. So another thing is the UI. It's very similar to the Baton series. You can get to every brightness level. It's just got a really good interface. It's got everything that you need and more. It's good for a lot of things. Most people probably won't use all the stuff that's on this light, but all you have to do when you first get the light is set it up the way you want it and then leave it alone. And also, as a pro for some people, even though it doesn't affect me in any way, is that the light does tail stand. Now, out of my 500 lists of things that I like about the light, let's go over the cons. So the first thing is the strike bezel is okay, but it's not really deep. It's not really too crazy, but it's definitely a strike bezel that can do some damage. If you're doing that, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna sting. Not on somebody's hand, but like if you hit them right here, that's gonna sting. I also think that the tail switch is sunk in a little far. It seems like, I don't know, it's probably just because of the charging system, but you really have to push it far before the momentary thing comes on, and then you got to push it even further for the regular light or the strobe, depending on the mode you have it on. You really got to push in that button to get it to do anything. Like it's just a really weird tail switch. Like you push it down a little bit and it feels like it would turn on, but it doesn't. You have to keep pushing it a little further before it goes into momentary. And unless you've really began using it a lot, it's going to be a little weird. There's no way to describe it unless you have the light yourself and you're trying it out yourself. It's unusually far that you have to push it in to turn it on to momentary, and it doesn't feel like it would be that way or that it should be that way, but it is. Not really a huge deal for me because you do get used to it, but it is there, and I suppose I should mention it. The other thing I don't really like is if you try and turn the light off with the tail switch, it will turn it off, but only after giving you this bright flash. Now I know why it's doing that. It's because that tail switch only has access to those brightest modes. And so when you're pushing the button down, it's activating that mode and then turn it off. So it's giving you that bright flash. Kind of wish it didn't do that, but again, not a huge deal if you're only using the side switch or only using the tail switch. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Thursday Reviews. You're going to have to get used to seeing flashlight reviews because I got several more within the upcoming weeks. I got 2 Olights for Christmas, so I'm going to be reviewing another one next week. And then I'm going to be testing them, and I promised another light. So there's actually a total of 4 lights in a row. 4 Thursday reviews in a row that have lights. This is the first one. So hope to see you within the next few weeks with more light reviews. This is going to become light reviews instead of Thursday reviews. Not true. That's not official. Anyways, I will be uploading within the next few weeks of these new lights. Hope to see you then.